What's going on YouTube? Scents by Sean here. Thanks so much for tuning into today's video and welcome back to the channel. Today I have been tagged by a really good friend of mine named Jesus Fragrance. I want to give a shout out to you, Jesus. Thanks so much, man, for tagging me in today's video. It's a really cool topic and I think it's an interesting one because the videos I've been watching on it, I've been seeing so many different kinds of collections and so many different fragrances in people's top 10 list. And today the topic is going to be 10 fragrances for the rest of my life. So we are picking 10 fragrances. If we had to toss the rest of our collection, these are the only 10 that we could keep for the rest of our lives. I'm giving you guys the 10 that I chose right now. So for our first spot on this list, we have got a fragrance that does really well this particular time of year, being that spring, summer, nice warm weather that we currently are experiencing. This one here is Bulgari Aqva Marine. This is a fantastic fragrance. Everybody who is into those fresh, aquatic spring and summer fragrances is aware typically of the Bulgari line. The Bulgari line contains lots of flankers. This is a flanker of the original Aqva. Bulgari Aqva Marine is my favorite of all the flankers and of the whole line because this one to me kind of embodies what a salty sea fresh fragrance should be. This one here has a seaweed note, which is a really interesting thing to consider. Because a lot of people would be thinking, seaweed note, that sounds really, really odd, but it works incredibly well in this and it gives it that salty, crisp, fresh air that you would get if you were out boating or out fishing or swimming by the ocean. So this is one that I would have to have for the summertime. This is one I'd have to have for warm weather. Let's go ahead and jump on to the second spot. Switching gears for the number 2 spot, we have our summer fragrance. We gotta have one that is that warm, sexy date night fragrance. It is by one of my favorite designers. It fits into that category kind of that some people call a niche designer, and that is Tom Ford's Noir Extreme. This is probably Tom Ford's most popular fragrance out of his non-private selection line. So your Oud Wood, your Tobacco Oud, your Cafe Rose, your Tobacco Vanille. Those are all of his private line, the little rectangular slim bottles that are significantly more expensive. This guy's a lot more obtainable for the everyday man if you're looking to not spend a fortune, but you want an awesome designer like Tom Ford. You're looking to spend closer to like $90 to $120 for this guy. This is a warm, sexy, sweet Tonka coffee, just absolutely awesome. If you're into those sweet gourmand fragrances, this is a great way to go ahead and get that fragrance note for yourself. I wear this fragrance all the time. It is highly, highly recommended by me. Really popular. This one is easy to find, Facebook group, stuff like that. And I would have to have it in my top 10 of all time. Sometimes when you are wearing fragrances on the daily, you need that easy dumb reach that everybody's gonna like, that's fresh, that's clean. You can wear 365 and it's always gonna get compliments. It's always gonna make people appreciate the way you smell. And for me, it is no surprise that that particular bad boy is Prada L'Homme, your iris, soapy, office, lovable, likable fragrance. This, guys, is a no-brainer. Prada L'Homme. You have other options when it comes to iris-based fragrances, and some people will argue that there are better choices than this, that this one is a little generic. To me, the generic straightforwardness of this fragrance is the reason I love it so much. There's really no way to hate this fragrance. Nobody is going to tell you smell bad. Nobody's going to dislike this. Are there some that they may like better than this that might get you better quality compliments? Sure. But if you are looking for a great compliment factor, if you are looking for a safe, awesome office, work, daily driver fragrance, Prada L'Homme is gonna get you that, guys, every single time. So I'd have to have this one in my collection. It is my preferred iris fragrance. If you are looking for one that does great in almost every situation, maybe minus the winter time, maybe minus the date, you might wanna go with something a little bit more sweeter and sexy for a date or those situations, but for just about every other time, guys, Prada L'Homme is on my top 10 for life. For the number 4 spot, we are coming in with a fragrance that is currently discontinued, but is still very easily found in the fragrance community if you know where to look. We are, of course, talking about Guerlain L'Homme Ideal Cologne. This is an absolutely awesome citrus almond fragrance. This is my go-to for the springtime. It works great in any kind of high heat, so spring or summer. But this is such an interesting fragrance because your marine, your aquatic fragrances work really well for summer because that's what summer is about. It's about the ocean, it's about swimming, it's about being outside in the cool water to cool you down from the summer heat. But spring is kind of an odd place because it's not so hot yet. What do you wear that's nice and refreshing but is not necessarily aquatic? I would reach for L'Homme Ideal Cologne. This is a awesome cheapie as well. It can be found for a really good price. This is a 50 milliliter bottle. I believe this was picked up by me for like $26 to $28. Almond, bergamot, citrus, really nice fragrance. Great for the springtime. Great, again, as a dumb reach. It's easy to wear, and I would have to have it because it is my go-to to kind of smell like a pretty boy. You just need that fragrance that makes you smell handsome and makes you smell nice. This is one of my best reaches for that, guys. So L'Homme Ideal, make sure you check this one out before it's impossible to get. It has been discontinued. It's been replaced by more from the House of Guerlain, but this one is a gem, guys. Check it out. Moving right along on the list, we are at number 5, and this is our first truly niche house of the list. Last 4 has been all designers. This is my favorite, and actually at the moment, the only one I own from the line of Bond number 9. This one here is New York Nights. Bond number 9, New York Nights, is an odd fragrance for a lot of people, because if you check this guy out on Fragrantica or you look it up in certain Facebook groups, this one doesn't get a lot of the love, such as maybe Bond.com, your Sutton Place, your Lafayette, your, let's see, Scent of Peace, Bleecker Street. There are a lot of Bond number 9s that have that big following that when you hear Bond number 9, you hear those fragrances. New York Nights is not one that I see get brought up almost at all. The only time I actually got a chance to smell this was at my local Saks Fifth Avenue, and they have their Bond number 9 counter, and I had an opportunity to sample some of the Bonds I'd never smelled. And let me tell you guys, there are very few fragrances in my collection, or at all, that I can call a love at first sniff. I usually have to wear them for a while. I usually have to grab decants, or they're just good, but they're not love. There is something about the combination of this gourmand fragrance of a caramel, chocolate, coffee, just completely edible and delicious. The combination of this does it for me like nothing else. And people have that note and people have that combination that is all their own and that they love more than anything. And for me, this is it. You're gonna find that this fragrance doesn't get a ton of love from others, and I think that's totally okay, because this does a great service to me. I wear this one for me. It doesn't garner me anywhere near as many compliments as many other fragrances. Gosh, but it is my favorite gourmand of all time. I plan on doing a gourmand list here soon, and this will absolutely be on it. Forgive me, because you'll have seen it twice. But Bond number 9, New York Nights, guys, this is a banger if you love those really sultry, sweet gourmands. Chocolate, caramel, coffee. I mean, you have to love it sweet, but if you do, this is one I'd recommend you check out. All right, guys, so we are at the number 6 spot, and we have to go ahead and talk about the obligatory, cheap, awesome, low-cost fragrance. And for me, that is going to be Montblanc Individuel. Everybody knows it. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. If you're new to the channel, maybe this isn't one you've heard of. Think of a fresh dryer sheet, easy to wear, likable, spring, summer, banger. It is a great fragrance, and it does such a good job for such a cheap price. This is so easily found right around under $30, between 22 and 25 bucks. It has good longevity for a freshie. It's nothing amazing. It's not gonna last you all day, but a solid 4 to 6 hours, and you are going to smell so unbelievably clean. It's crazy. It is just the people pleaser. You're not gonna get those girls fawning over you and grabbing your collar and saying, oh my God, you smell incredible, because that's not what this sets out to do. This is the everyday man who goes to the office. This is the everyday man who wants to go to the grocery store and get the odd occasional compliment and like, you smell so fresh, so clean. And that's totally okay, guys. Don't expect to get blown out of the water by this, but know that your 20-some dollars is well spent. This is a great fragrance. It gets tons of good reviews in Fragcom. Don't need to talk much about it. Montblanc Individuel, this one I'd have to have, because even though I own fragrances 10 times more expensive than it, price doesn't always mean value, and price doesn't always necessarily mean a good fragrance. So I find myself reaching for this all the time, despite its cheap price. So for our number 7 spot, this one is kind of a gimme. This one is one that a lot of people in Fragcom love and are gonna have to have in their collection, and I am no exception. We are talking about the house of Yves Saint Laurent. This is La Nuit de l'Homme, French for the Night of the Man. Awesome fragrance, cardamom, vanilla, lavender. Date night, sexy, smell me, cuddle up. You're gonna love it. Women love it, men love it. I get more compliments with this fragrance than pretty much anything else I've ever worn. People in my inner circle, really close friends that I see often know when I'm wearing this, and they always seem to love it. Compliments from strangers do come, but this one has become somewhat of a signature scent for myself, and I'm okay with it. Nuit de l'Homme, it is so, so good, guys. It's my favorite of the Yves Saint Laurent line. You've got a lot of bangers in there from M7, from Tuxedo. A lot of people like L'Homme, which is very similar to this, but La Nuit is gonna be my favorite, probably till the day I die, unless they come out with something crazy. But La Nuit, I gotta have it. It's gotta be a part of my top 10, but again, nothing super crazy here, nothing that's gonna blow anybody away. It's kind of a gimme, and kind of one that I had to include on the list because it's just true. I don't have to lie and say that I don't love this fragrance because I do. So if you're looking for a great winter time, if you're looking for a great date night fragrance, this is my ultimate date night fragrance. Throw out Jean Paul Gaultier Ultra Male, throw away Dolce & Gabbana The One, grab yourself the cardamom sweet bomb of La Nuit de l'Homme and you won't be sorry. All right, guys, as we round out our top 3 on the list, we are visiting the House of Creed. And no, it is not Creed Aventus. I have no problem in making the bold statement of this is my favorite of the Creed house and the only Creed that I always will own in my collection. There may be times where I own others and there might be good times for them, but one that I will always have and I can never go without is Green Irish Tweed. There is nothing like wearing Green Irish Tweed to feel like a gentleman. There's nothing like Green Irish Tweed to make you feel the epitome of class, of green, of clean, of a gentleman. This is a gentleman's fragrance. This is somebody who knows what he wants. This is something that someone wears where you have to earn his attention and fight for him because this thing just, it smells like class and it smells undescribable unless you have actually had a chance to wear this fragrance and enjoy it. I would have to have it. It is the only Creed, in my personal opinion, that is mandatory for my collection. There are a lot of great Creeds, that means no disrespect to the house, but for me, there is a certain amount I have to have, and it's one, and it is Green Irish Tweed. This is a timeless fragrance. Personally, if you want to bring up Davidoff Cool Water, if you want to bring up fragrances that smell like this, there's certainly some nuances to that, but to me, this will always be cool. This will always be in style. This will always be a bottle that you won't be sad that you own, and it's great for all kinds of situations. So Creed Green Irish Tweed is the number 8 fragrance on this list. For our number 9 spot, this is an awesome fragrance for those looking to get into the niche world. This house in particular, I have a feeling, has gotten a lot of people into the niche world because it's affordable. It's available to the masses via Facebook groups and discounters websites. This is the House of Mancera. In this one in particular, we have got Cedrat Boise. This one, we're not going to talk about the fragrance that people say this smells like because to me, it's hearsay and it's not something that's super relevant to how good this fragrance is. Sweet, fruity, juniper berry, punch opening in the face. It is a great fruity opening with a cedar vanilla dry down. This is great because this is it gives a lot of newer folks into the fragrance game who haven't owned a lot of complicated or niche fragrances. Not that this is complicated, but this actually develops on my skin. It's great to have a fragrance that you can have a really different opening than you have several hours later into the dry down. A lot of fragrances stay very one-dimensional, especially fragrances that tend to stay on the cheaper side and on the designer sort of spectrum. So this is a great indication of a fragrance that can develop on your skin, can start very bright and fruity, and then can end a little bit more woodsy vanilla as it dries down a few hours. Mancera is also really well known for their strong oils. This is great bang for your buck. I have to have this one around. I wear this one all the time, and it's a great spring, summer fragrance. It can be done all year long, but how I mentioned spring can sometimes be a hard season to wear a fragrance for. This is another great one for that list, guys. So number 9, we've got Cedrat Boise by Mancera. I hope you guys are ready. We're here at our number 10 spot, and I left one of my absolute favorites for last. This is an absolute banger of a fragrance. It is a niche house that is unbelievably popular and well known. We are talking about Parfums de Marly and none other than the Layton Exclusif. Layton Exclusive. Now, Layton and Layton Exclusive are actually, in my opinion, have some very significant differences. Layton is kind of like your Brad Pitt of the Parfums de Marly world. It is the one that everybody knows. You bring up the brand, people may know no other fragrance from Parfums de Marly, like your Guerlain, like your Pegasus, like your Ohan, Carlisle. I mean, you've got fragrances, gosh, out the wazoo from Parfums de Marly. People may hear that title and know only Layton or Layton Exclusive. This is a great fragrance because it is such a awesome wearable oud. And oud can be so tough and so difficult for some people to break into and find it skunky, find it barnyard, find it animalic, and find it hard to wear and kind of challenging and intimidating. And Layton Exclusive does a great job of giving you the ability to wear an oud fragrance that is not going to challenge you so unbelievably that it takes away from the rest of the fragrance. This is typically going to still be a challenge maybe for those younger guys. So this is something that if I had to like pick an age group, it's gonna be like your 30 to 35 plus. I don't necessarily fit in that age group and I wear this all the time. So don't let that scare you. It's in my list for a reason. It is an absolutely awesome, awesome fragrance. It is my favorite from the House of Parfums de Marly. I hope you guys can see why. Check out the reviews on this one. It is something that I feel like is a great step from the designer world into the niche house, and that's why I had to include it in one I'd take with me at my top 10 list anywhere. Thank you guys so much for sticking around to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed my top 10 list of fragrances I'd have to keep for the rest of my life, toss the rest. This was such a cool video to make and took so much time of me staring at my fragrance collection and really trying to narrow down what I was gonna put on this list. I think as fragrance enthusiasts and collectors, this is a cool little exercise. Maybe even if you're not a YouTuber and you decide to take a peek at that collection and grab your top 10, and it really kind of reminds you of why you love certain fragrances in the first place and puts into perspective why we choose the fragrances that we do anyways. If you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. Check that like button. That way you can be notified of whenever I post new content. We got lots of new content just like this planned right up ahead, and I hope to have you guys on board for the rest of the videos. You've been watching Scents by Sean. Keep on smelling great and have an awesome day, guys.